Alright, YouTube, I'm going to do my best to show the nozzle cleaning tool for a Hoover Steamvac. I don't think anyone's ever showed that tool. But what you want to do first, take your container off. Sorry, the thing's a mess because I emptied the rainbow in it. But anyway, you want to take your recovery tank off, because even if it's empty, you still want to take it off because make it easier. But the best way to go about this is find an empty space and stick your tool up in it. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to prop it up on the recovery tank. Find the empty spaces and stick it up in there and start pulling the stuff out. Usually you want to do this when it's wet because it'll usually just slip right out, but I think I kind of waited a bit too long to do this, so it's dried and all that. So, but yeah, it's usually a good idea to wait till it's usually not a good idea to wait till the thing's dried, because then you gotta kind of struggle like I am. But yeah, this is a basic process. These hooked ends, oh, I'm not even showing the thing, but yeah, this is what I pulled out so far. I'm gonna try and hold the camera in place. What I really need is a tripod. And as soon as I get deeper up in the nozzle, I'll probably set it down on the machine. I'm gonna try and get a bigger load out. And usually you won't really want to touch it because it's stuff that's been on the floor. And you especially don't really want to touch it if it's in a place you've cleaned that's not yours. I mean, this isn't out of my house, but I figured, what the hell? I mean, I'm already a smoker and that's disgusting. But yeah, I'm gonna get as much out as I can, and then when it stops bringing it out, I'm gonna just take the nozzle off. Yeah, well, all right, it's a bit thin in certain areas, so I'm gonna end up pulling it out I'm gonna end up taking the nozzle off. But yeah, like I said, usually you're gonna want to do this when it's wet because it'll slide out of the nozzle easier if it's wet. And flip it upside down and see if that helps anything. Yeah, because right now it's dry, so it won't be it's not going to be too big of a mess. And I'm sorry about my camera skills, not even showing the beginning of the cleaning process. But hey, I'm not perfect, and there's actually some worse camera people than me. But I'm not going to use that as an excuse, because I've been called out before for my poor camera skills. And for those who are going to be commenting on the Sanitaire wide track video, please don't name call, because even though it doesn't really offend me, I don't think I should. I'm not gonna keep that kind of stuff on my channel. I mean, you said your piece, but just keep it to yourself if you got to insult. But like I said, that doesn't offend me or anything, because, hey, it's just words. Man. All right, well, you get the basic idea of the cleaning tool, the nozzle cleaning tool. Usually it's not going to be caked up like this, but should it be caked up like this, it's usually a good idea to just take your nozzle off and scrape it out. In fact, I'm gonna try and show that. Hang on, I'm gonna go get a Phillips head screwdriver, and I'll be back. All right, I'm back. But yeah, when your little cleaning tool here isn't as effective, like usually that's to get around the edges of the nozzle, but when you got a lot like this, this is pretty easy process. So you just take your Phillips head screwdriver. This usually pops up pretty easily, just like that. And you're gonna go under it. And as we can see, this needs cleaning as well. Because, people had a dog, and the dog is shedding, and they just wanted an extraction. But you got a screw here, and one right here that holds your nozzle on. I have to set this down because I got to use two hands. Yeah, I really do need a tripod for the phone. I'm just going to try and get them loose so I can show taking them out. All right. Now, these two screws right here, like I just showed, you'll be using two hands, but these two screws come out and they hold your nozzle in place, or your cover, not your nozzle. The nozzle comes off in two pieces. Like, you got the main, like a window, which is pretty much showcasing the water going up in there, which is a separate piece altogether. And these two screws come out, and the nozzle should just pop right off. You may need to use a screwdriver because it's probably going to be a little sticky. Well, we got two clips right here. Even a flathead screwdriver couldn't really get those. I'm probably going to need a flathead or something. Yeah, sometimes these can be sticky. Well, I'm kind of a bit of a fool here because I'm using one hand and everything. But sometimes it comes off pretty easy. This one hasn't been cleaned, it hasn't been removed in a while. Usually I don't clean carpets that are dirty enough to make it super filthy. Yeah, it's pretty tough. Well, you get the basic idea, maybe. But yeah, where'd my other flathead go? I know I had one in here. But yeah, you'd usually use a flathead to get this off. But I don't really have a flathead screwdriver in here right now. So I'm kind of having to just struggle with a Phillips head. I don't know why this is being such a pain. I took both screws out. But it's usually easy to get these tops off. I don't know why I'm having to take this whole thing apart, because last time I cleaned this, it wasn't this big of a pain. But this time, apparently, when I decide to make a video of servicing it, it wants to be a pain. And I just dropped the screw down in it. I'll get that out after the video. I don't want to break it. I'm gonna cut the video here and pick it up. It won't be cut to y'all, but it'll be cut to me. All right, for some reason I forgot how different this one was from the others, and forgot that you have to remove the headlight lenses. They just screw in with a little screw. You're gonna need a tinier screwdriver for those. There's one on each side, and they just go in like that. So anyway, here we have the rest of the gunk. And it is kind of wet up in there. But yeah, I forgot how different the Steamvac wide path is. So forgive me, I had to take a couple extra steps off camera because it took so long. But yeah, now that we've got that off, we can get back to cleaning it and just use our tool as a plow. And this does seem to be a little bit more moist up in here. So let's just use our tool to scrape it out. Normally you'd probably use a scraper, like a utility scraper. Let's get the screw out of the way. Like plastic utility scraper. But since I don't have one of those on my person right now, I'm just going to use the nozzle cleaning tool. Because for starters, we're cleaning the nozzle. And I'll brush the rest of this off. Usually when you get it like this, you can just take like a little whisk broom and sweep it off. But since I don't have one of those either, I used to, but it got lost. So that's most of the nozzle on the part of it, on that part. Now we move over to scraping this out. Yeah, this is gonna be fun. There's a little bit of a treasure there. Usually it's easier when you're using two hands. Since I'm not, I'm just gonna have to weight it down as much as I can. So, yeah, it's a pain if you don't have the right tools and when you're not using two hands, but usually you can hold this with one hand and use your other hand to scrape it off. I'm sorry, you see in my feet, I know people have went on and called me gross for showing my feet and stuff, but hey, if you don't like seeing feet and you prefer socks, like I said, go to my Baziak's channel. He usually wears slippers or socks. And if you got any residual, you can usually just spray it off. But it's mostly clean there. Now we just get a vacuum and clean this up. Put the screws over there. Don't lose your screws, by the way. I know some people, when they take something apart, they lose the screws and then they're down on parts. Like that, I almost lost that one. So let's get the vacuum and clean this up. I'm gonna use the Tornado with its HEPA filtration. Got some stains. I'll show an extraction of those later. And hopefully y'all got enough of the taking it apart and stuff. But since these are pretty hard to find, oh, I almost forgot about this part. I don't know how you would, it looks like it's kind of welded, but usually you just tap this out. Or we can send this through it and see how much we can push out of it. Yeah, we got quite a bit out of it. you can usually just spray this part out with a water hose because it's kind of gooey. It's still wet. Should have done that over a trash can because I can't vacuum that up right now. But yeah, the rest of it that was in the nozzle was pretty dry, so it's not too big of a deal. But yeah, this, I tried to tell the person that I would vacuum for her, but she said, no, I wouldn't vacuum this. And I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I got a carpet cleaner in the car, so I'll come in and extract. So, yeah, she wasn't kidding that it would be a bad idea to vacuum. Because, I mean, this is pretty gross, but at least it's not in the house anymore. I mean, it's on this carpet, but hey, there's worse goes on this carpet. Because we've had issues where people come in with turds on their feet. And I usually extract that, but I haven't done it on camera. But yeah, this is pretty basic going back together. You just put this part back on it. And if you got one of this design, just put this back in its place. Which goes on just like that. And you put 1, 2, 3, 4 screws back in it. And then your 2 screws here. And if you got the wide path, these go on, and then your screws in here. And that holds it together. So yeah, pulling it apart and putting it back together is pretty much both reversed. So your 2 screws here, it's underneath it. And then your 2 screws here go back here, 1 back here behind the motor, and 1 right there. So basically taking it apart and putting it back together is it back in reverse. Those 2 screws. This one, I might as well put those in. Yeah, I think I will put this back together on film. So these 2, I'll have to take it back apart and put the other screw in later. Yeah, I'm sorry about my poor camera skills. I am bad at doing stuff with one hand usually. I gotta practice it, really. But at least y'all got a little bit of a vacuum test, even though it was pretty much a bad idea. But it wasn't too damp to damage it. So, yeah, I'm trying to get this done. Yeah, I wish I did have the Dyson on me at the time, because there was quite a bit of bad business going on in that house. These 2 screws, you would really need a small screwdriver. I mean, that's going in pretty good. And this side now. But basically, putting it back together, or taking it apart and putting it back together is pretty much, it's pretty simple. You're probably not going to have headlights on yours, so this step could be skipped. But if you should have a Steamvac wide path, this is how you put it back together. And take it apart. I should have remembered that. So that's my bad. And then we put our screws in the bottom. Oh, Yeah, I forgot this came out. Almost put it in the wrong way. Yeah, I'm gonna have to put the screw through it first. And I will eventually show cleaning the bottom bristles, but I don't have enough film on my phone left to show that. And I mean, this is gonna be pretty well a two-part video anyway. So this screw, okay, you get the idea pretty much. I'm sorry, I have to hold it down. And one here. Yeah, I'm sorry about my one-handed technique. I would show this screw, but it's being a pain. All right, and there's a Steamvac, and you also got this filter right here that you would normally want to check. So that coming clean. So there's that. So yeah, I'm gonna get my wet dry vac and clean this up. I would put that screw in, but it fell down in the machine, down in there somewhere, but I'll get it out. And later I'm gonna show my method of cleaning the brushes. So stay tuned for that. If you want to see a hair comb cleaning Steamvac bristles. So until next time, tell me how you liked it. Tell me what y'all want to see. I'll see what I can do, how I can do it, and when I can do it. And until next time, bye.